Double Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, boxing. We're going to talk about the heavyweight division, a little bit something else. You know what I mean? We're going to talk a little Dillian Whyte, heavyweight contender Dillian Whyte. Right now, the WBC, had a little convention and they coming up with what they about to do next. Right? Some things we like, some things we don't. Most of the time when it comes to sanctioned bodies, we don't like what they're up to because we know they ain't in the interest of what we're trying to get, which is undisputed. Right? I'll give you another example of why undisputed, they're allergic. Right? I might start sneezing at the beginning. Shoot. Because they're allergic to undisputed. But anyway, I'll get around to it. It probably, come full circle in a minute. But the thing is, Dillian Whyte has been told from the WBC that he's going to have to wait to February the 21st, February 2021. Okay, February 2021, which means he has to wait all the next year before he gets a title shot with the WBC. Right, because they got things to do with Deontay Wilder. He's got maybe the Tyson Fury fight or another fight or whatever. And then he's got to wait to then. Now, his promoter, one of them, Eddie Hearn, is upset by that, talking about it's ridiculous and frustrating because, Dillian Whyte was waiting 600 days before. Remember, everybody was complaining about 600 days. And then, now he's still waiting. That would sound cool if that's all you would say, right? It's like, hey, can't be waiting 600 days and now you still got to wait until February 21st. February 2021, right? That sounds good. That sounds like Republicans. Just, we're going to say that and that's it. That's not what it is. First of all, in the 600 days, Dillian Whyte, we all know, and I'm not going to go into it deeply, but we all know he had opportunities to fight to be the mandatory for Deontay Wilder's belt several times. He fought Dominique Brazil when Brazil asked him to. He didn't. He did a Golovkin when it comes to Golovkin fighting Charlo. They told him, you fight him? No. Hey, Deontay Wilder said, hey, fight Ortiz, you get me. No, I'm not doing it that way. Ortiz wanted to fight him several times. I'm not doing it that way. Right? So the sanction body, they told him who to fight, and he said no a couple of times. So after that, you go fight who you want to, the Lucas Browns and all of that, right? Then that's not who they said fight. And then if you combine that with other little things, he could have been, he could have fought Kubrat Pulev for the IBF title, but we're not talking about it. We're staying WBC. So, with all that being said, he won some fights, looked pretty decent, but you shouldn't have been mandatory in the first place. So they let him fight Oscar Rivas, and that would be a mandatory fight, the winner of that. Then he's doped, big time doped, right? Then not to mention to get doped before the fight, didn't even tell Oscar Rivas' team and still fought him in the age where people are dying in the ring. And before, that was in July the 20th, I think it was. We still haven't had his B sample. So nothing is more frustrating than that, right? And ridiculous. Those are the same words Eddie Hearn could be using. Ridiculous and frustrating that the fans don't have the B sample. Oscar Rivas and them don't know what happened and to fight him without telling them. And then now, all of a sudden, be telling Deontay Wilder and them, the WBC, what they're supposed to be doing. Now, Eddie Hearn says, well, Deontay Wilder might be the franchise champion soon because they let Lomachenko be the franchise champion. He had one fight for the WBC, beating Luke Campbell. Means he beat Luke Campbell, and all of a sudden you the franchise champion. Canelo won't be undisputed in that division. Threw the WBC belt away two years ago. Didn't even want it. Didn't want nothing to do with them because they wanted him to fight Golovkin. He said no, and y'all don't want nothing to do with y'all belt. Goes back and win it later, and now, we better leave this guy alone. So they don't do nothing. So he's a franchise champion. So those two guys, if they're a franchise champion, Lomachenko and Canelo, then Deontay Wilder should be anyway. He's a WBC champion and got 9 title defenses, like I said in another video. So maybe he should become franchise so those two guys can fight. Because we know Deontay Wilder would say, well, with the winner of that, I got you. Like he gives his word to Luis Ortiz right now. We see that he would fight people that are dangerous. Right? If he gives him his word. Tyson Fury comes out of retirement for 2 years, right? Being fat and doing all those other things. He came in and got a good deal with Deontay Wilder. And for the rematch, another 50%. You know what I mean? So we know that Deontay Wilder keeps his word. But that's just a lot of things that are going on right there. That's just kind of letting you know, well, they're trying to force this mandatory on Deontay Wilder, right? He's, even though this dude is doped right as we speak. Right? That's something that's letting you know, we don't want no undisputed. Not one mention in the article that I read about Undisputed. There are two or more articles I read. Eddie Hearn is involved again. He's saying that the Chisora David Price fight, the Derek Chisora David Price fight, which is going to be a pretty good one, a domestic dust up. The winner of that could fight Usyk, Alexander Usyk, right? And then he says, okay, or Usyk can fight the winner of Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Joshua, that winner. Again, no mention of Undisputed. Right? He's talking about, well, the belts are going to be fragmented after that Ruiz fight with Joshua anyway, because the IBF is going to mandate Kubrat Pulev, and the WBO already Usyk, right? Not telling the fans like, well, listen, the remedy for that is an undisputed fight. They will back off if we say, hey, the winner of Ruiz Joshua fights Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz winner for undisputed. They would back off of that if anybody would ask for it. If anybody, and they don't mention it in these articles, so the casual fan won't catch on to that. And that's why they keep all these articles. If I'm talking about Dillian Whyte or whatever, everyone's ignoring Undisputed. Everyone's ignoring Undisputed. The same thing. Now, he's talking about all he's pissed off, that the franchise champion, because of the Dillian Whyte situation. Eddie Hearn said, well, the franchise champion, man, is protecting the key champs and not giving people a chance to fight the key champs. It's all wrong, because he's talking about Devin Haney wanting to fight Lomachenko. Right? I think Devin Haney is Matchroom. Yeah. But that's the same thing that's going on with Wilder and Whyte. Whyte, get out the way if he's talking Undisputed. And Deontay Wilder has been talking Undisputed. So we shouldn't be pushing up on Wilder's like with mandatories. Good with the mandatories, because the last two mandatories have gotten highlight reel flatlined. Stavern and Brazil. So he'll handle his mandatories, but we shouldn't be forcing them down people's throat who would want to be Undisputed. Like Wilder, Andy Ruiz Jr. If he wins and he wants to fight Wilder again, he should be able to. And all that Kubrat Pulevs and Usyks have to wait. But in these articles, all the promoters, no one is talking about Undisputed. Just like they didn't with Canelo and Andre. They let you just believe Canelo can go up 2 weight divisions, and there was nothing spectacular in his own weight division on his own Mexican date that could have happened with Demetrius Andrade. That would have been an undisputed fight on the Mexican holiday. And they don't mention on purpose, so the casual fan won't catch on. That's what this is all about. Listen, all of this stuff we're talking about heavyweights. And we're one fight from Undisputed in the middleweight division and the heavyweight division, and no one will mention it. One fight. No one is talking about, because it's just letting you know it's blatant. This is what I'm talking about. It's blatant that they don't want Undisputed. Undisputed is in no one's interest except for that fighter who becomes Undisputed. And that's why they just will not mention it. We're talking about, huge fights. Canelo, Andre for Undisputed on September the 14th. We missed that. They didn't talk about it, so you wouldn't want it. Right? And they keep telling you that's not big for nobody, which is absolutely ridiculous. Wilder going to fight your boy Ortiz, Joshua and Andy Ruiz Jr. Those two winners to fight. Boom. After that, you have one fight for Undisputed. And they're telling you that no one would want that. And that's absurd. That's what's wrong with boxing. So, with Dillian Whyte waiting, he needs to wait. Right? That's how I feel about Dillian Whyte, because I know the details about Dillian Whyte. He could have been fought Deontay Wilder if he just fought Ortiz. And other things, even Dominic Brazil. So, if he got to wait, I think what needs to happen first with Dillian Whyte is transparency in the B sample, which should have been out on July 27th. Right? His fight was July 27th. We should have all been, up to speed on what's up with the B sample. But we're not. And now they're already complaining about being somebody's mandatory with all of that stuff that was in his system, the metabolites. Let's not forget about that. So that has to happen first. There should not be outrage. We get outraged about the wrong things as boxing fans. We need to be outraged instead of arguing about stupid stuff. Even Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder arguing back in the day, asking a dude to fight for 12.5 minutes, fight for 15.5, because he's so much better than you. And he ain't. We see it. We shouldn't have been arguing about that. We should have said 50-50, let him fight. You know, 60-40, when he offers you the 60-40, fight then. But the fans arguing like, hey, no, we shouldn't. And we keep doing that. It's like, who? I'm a different species for wanting to see undisputed. And we're so close. So let us all focus on that. All this other stuff, let's just ignore them. Because they're just using you as test dummies. Ignore that. Focus on undisputed. In the heavyweight division, the winner of Joshua and Ruiz versus the winner of Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. And I think that should be period. Doma Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.